Sold to the alien warlord as a slave, she broke her chains and found freedom in a human's home. The first sound was not an explosion. It was a low, deep hum, like the sky itself was holding its breath. Captain Aaron Vale stood on the balcony of Outpost 17, looking across the silver plains of Eridan 4. It had been a quiet morning, the kind that made him think maybe this forgotten human colony would finally have peace. Farmers were out in the fields. Children were playing near the water pumps. Even the sun felt warm, not like the cold wind they usually had this time of year, but the hum grew louder. The birds stopped singing. The children froze. Aaron's eyes narrowed. "That's not a storm," he muttered. The horizon darkened. At first, it looked like a wall of clouds rolling in, but then the sunlight caught on something metallic. Dozens, no hundreds, of ships, long, black, sharp as knives and moving fast. "Sound the alarm." Aaron's voice cut through the quiet. A siren screamed across the outpost. Farmers dropped their tools and ran for shelter. Soldiers scrambled to the walls, loading rifles, powering up the old plasma turrets. Lieutenant Mara rushed to Aaron's side, her face pale. "Sir, those are Drevik warships." Aaron's stomach turned cold. "That's impossible. The treaty, they're breaking it," Mara said, her voice shaking. The Drevik were not new to humans. 10 years ago, they had fought one of the bloodiest wars in the sector. Both sides had signed a fragile peace, promising to never cross into each other's territories. And yet, here they were. The first ship broke away from the fleet, diving toward the outpost like a predator. The hum became a roar. Plasma cannons flashed in the sky. The ground shook. Buildings crumbled. Aaron grabbed the comm unit. "This is Captain Vale of Outpost 17. We are under attack." "Repeat, we are under attack." Static, no response. The Drevik were jamming communications. The soldiers opened fire as the first wave of enemy fighters swooped low. Plasma bolts burned through metal and stone. A guard tower exploded, sending 2 men into the dirt. Screams filled the air. Mara grabbed Aaron's arm. "Sir, if we don't get the civilians out now." "I know," Aaron said, his mind racing. He remembered the old underground tunnels, built during the last war and long forgotten. They weren't perfect, but they could hide people for a while. "Get everyone below ground," he ordered. "I'll hold the north wall." Mara hesitated. "Sir, go." The enemy landed on the far side of the outpost. Tall, armored figures stepped out, their black armor glinting in the sun. The Drevik were terrifying up close, nearly 7 feet tall, 4 arms, faces hidden behind smooth, featureless helmets. Aaron fired at the first one through the scope of his rifle. The plasma bolt struck its chest. The alien stumbled but kept moving. "Of course," Aaron muttered. The Drevik armor was built to withstand small arms fire. He switched to the turret. The cannon's thumping blasts tore through the first line of attackers, but for everyone that fell, 2 more seemed to take its place. Suddenly, an explosion rocked the wall. Aaron was thrown to the ground. His ears rang. Dust filled the air. Through the haze, he saw a Drevik soldier climbing up the rubble toward him. Aaron reached for his sidearm, but the alien moved too fast. A massive clawed hand closed around his neck and lifted him into the air. The Dravik's voice was deep and mechanical. "Human, this world is ours now." Aaron choked out, "Not today." He pulled the pin on a grenade at his belt. The alien's helmet tilted, almost in surprise. Before Aaron dropped the grenade at its feet, the blast threw both of them back. Aaron hit the ground hard, coughing. His side burned from shrapnel. But the Drevik was down, its armor smoking. Mara's voice crackled in his earpiece. "Captain, the civilians are in the tunnels, but the east gate won't hold much longer." Aaron pushed himself up. "Hold it as long as you can. I'm on my way." He limped through the chaos, soldiers firing, buildings burning, enemy ships circling overhead. He saw a little girl crying beside the ruins of her home. Without thinking, he scooped her up and ran for the tunnels. When they reached the entrance, Mara met them, covered in dust and blood. "We can seal it, but once we do, we can't open it again without the code. Seal it. Keep them safe. No matter what happens up here." Mara nodded, then glanced toward the battlefield. "And you?" Aaron tightened his grip on his rifle. Someone has to buy them time. The gate closed behind him with a heavy clang. He turned back toward the flames, the black shapes of the Dravik moving through the smoke. Somewhere in the distance he could hear their war drums, deep, steady beats like a heartbeat of death. This was not supposed to happen. The war was not supposed to return. But standing there, watching the enemy advance, Aaron knew the truth. Unexpected war had begun, and humanity would have to fight again. The smoke still rose from Outpost 17 hours after the attack. The sky was dark with ash, the air thick with the bitter smell of burned homes. Captain Aaron Vale walked alone among the ruins, his rifle hanging low. Every step crunched on shattered glass. The Dravik had pulled back before nightfall, but Aaron knew they would return. They always did. He stopped beside what used to be the market square. The stalls were gone, replaced by craters and twisted metal. That's when he heard it. A soft cough. Aaron froze. Slowly, he raised his rifle and followed the sound to a collapsed storage shed. The wooden frame creaked as he pushed it aside. A pair of eyes stared back at him, wide, frightened, and not human. The figure crouched in the shadows was small, thin, wrapped in a torn cloak. Her skin shimmered faintly silver under the dim light. The tips of her ears were long and sharp, and faint glowing lines ran across her cheeks like broken glass. She flinched at the sight of him. "Don't kill me," she whispered, her voice trembling. Aaron lowered his weapon slightly. "You're not Dravik." She shook her head quickly. "No, they hunted me too." Her voice cracked on the last word, and Aaron could see. She was injured, a gash on her leg, blood soaking the cloth. Aaron glanced around. If the Dravik were still scanning the area, they might already be tracking movement. "Can you walk?" She hesitated, then nodded. Aaron reached out his hand. For a moment, she just stared at it, as if unsure what trust even felt like. Finally, she took it. Her fingers were ice-cold. They moved quickly through the ruins, avoiding open ground. "What's your name?" Aaron asked. "Solara," she said softly. "And why are the Dravik after you?" Her eyes darted away. "Because I ran. Because I know something they can't let anyone know." Aaron felt the hairs on the back of his neck rise. What kind of something? Before she could answer, a faint hum filled the air again. The sound Aaron would never forget. Dravik scout drones. Aaron pulled Solara into the shell of an old factory. They crouched behind a broken machine as a drone passed overhead, its searchlight sweeping the ground. Solara held her breath, her grip tightening on his sleeve. When the drone moved on, Aaron spoke in a low voice. "If you're telling the truth, then you can't stay here. The tunnels are full of civilians, and the Dravik will find them, if they know you're with us." Solara's gaze hardened. "Then take me away from here, off this planet, anywhere but here." Aaron hesitated. Leaving the planet meant abandoning his post. But something in her voice, and the way her eyes looked haunted, like she'd seen worse than even he had, made him think this was more than just one refugee's escape. He finally said, "There's an old freighter hidden in the southern canyon. If it still flies, we can try." They moved under the cover of night, the moonlight glinting off Solara's silver skin. Halfway there, they heard it, the heavy mechanical stomp of boots. From the shadows ahead, a Dravik soldier stepped out, blocking their path. Aaron raised his rifle. "Run," he told Solara, but she didn't move. Instead, her hand lifted slightly, and the glowing lines on her cheeks flared bright. A pulse of light shot from her palm, striking the Dravik square in the chest. The alien flew backward, its armor smoking. Aaron stared at her. What the hell was that? Solara's breathing was heavy, her eyes still glowing faintly. "That's why they're hunting me," she said. "Because I'm not just a refugee. I'm the weapon they fear the most." Aaron knew then, this was no ordinary escape. If the Dravik wanted her this badly, it meant one thing. The unexpected war was about to get much bigger. The old freighter sat at the bottom of the southern canyon like a sleeping beast. Its hull was dented, its paint faded, but Aaron knew ships like this, built in the old wars, made to take punishment. Solara followed close behind, her silver skin catching the moonlight. She limped slightly from her wound, but her eyes stayed alert, scanning the shadows. Aaron keyed in the access code. The hatch opened with a hiss, and the smell of old metal and machine oil hit them. Inside, the cockpit was a mess, dust-covered panels, frayed wires, and a single pilot's chair that had seen better decades. "Will it fly?" Solara asked quietly. Aaron smiled grimly. "Only one way to find out." The engines coughed when he powered them up, sending vibrations through the ship. But they came alive, growling like something waking from a long sleep. Aaron eased the freighter out of the canyon, climbing toward the upper atmosphere. For a brief moment, there was silence. No alarms, no Dravik. Just the stars ahead. Solara looked out the viewport, her voice soft. "I never thought I'd see them again, the stars." Aaron glanced at her. "You've been on this planet a long time?" "Too long," she said. Her fingers traced one of the glowing lines on her cheek. "The Dravik don't just keep prisoners. They take pieces of you. Until you're not sure what's left." Before Aaron could reply, the ship's radar screamed to life. 3 red blips blinked on the display, closing fast. "Damn it," Aaron muttered, hitting the throttle. The freighter shot forward, its old engines roaring. But the Dravik ships behind them were sleek, fast, and hungry. "Hold on," Aaron warned. The black of space opened around them as they broke free of the planet's pull. The stars stretched into thin white lines as Aaron punched the ship into high burn. Plasma fire streaked past the viewport. One shot grazed their left wing, sending the ship into a shuddering spin. Solara gripped the console. "Can you lose them?" "Not in a straight run," Aaron said. "We need cover." He spotted it on the scanner, a field of shattered asteroids. Ahead, chunks of rock drifting in slow motion. Aaron dove into it. The freighter weaved between massive stones, some larger than cities. The enemy ships followed, their weapons firing, blasts lighting up the dark. Inside the cockpit, warning lights flared red. The hull took another hit, and the ship groaned in protest. Aaron's jaw tightened. "She's old, but she's tough. We can make it." A sudden alarm blared. Proximity alert. One of the Dravik ships had broken formation, trying to cut them off. Aaron jerked the controls, skimming the edge of a massive asteroid. A chunk of rock scraped the hull, sparks flying past the viewport. Solara closed her eyes for a second, her glowing lines pulsing faintly. Then she whispered, "I can help if you trust me." Aaron glanced at her. "What do you mean?" She reached for the ship's systems. "The Dravik made me this way. I can feel their machines. Talk to them. If I push hard enough, I can shut them down." Aaron hesitated. "If you're wrong, then we're dead anyway," she said simply. Aaron nodded once. "Do it." Solara placed her hands on the control panel. Her eyes glowed brighter, the light from her cheeks spilling across the console. The ship's lights flickered. Out in the asteroid field, the lead Dravik fighter suddenly spun out of control, smashing into a rock and exploding in a ball of fire. The other 2 ships faltered, their engines stuttering. Aaron seized the chance, gunning the freighter forward until the scanners showed empty space behind them. The cockpit fell silent except for the hum of the engines. Solara's glow faded, and she slumped in the chair, exhausted. Aaron looked at her for a long moment. "You just saved both of us." She managed a faint smile. "Don't thank me yet. They'll send more." Aaron turned back to the controls, his eyes narrowing. "Then we'd better find somewhere they can't follow." As the freighter slipped deeper into the black, neither of them noticed the silent transmission still blinking in the corner of the console. Coordinates sent to an unknown receiver. The freighter drifted in the black, running on low power. Aaron kept the lights dim and the engines cold to avoid detection. Outside, the stars were scattered like dust across the endless dark. Solara slept in the co-pilot's chair, her silver skin pale, the glowing lines on her face dim. She had used too much of her strange power in the asteroid field. Aaron had wrapped a blanket around her, but he knew it was more than just cold. Whatever she did to those Dravik ships had drained her to the core. He leaned back, staring at the scanner. No contacts, no pursuit. For now, then his eye caught something, a blinking light in the corner of the console. Aaron frowned. That indicator only meant one thing. An outgoing signal had been sent from the ship. He quickly pulled up the log. His stomach tightened. A transmission had gone out during the asteroid chase. Coordinates, straight from their nav system to an encrypted channel. Encrypted, but not human. Aaron's jaw clenched. He looked at Solara. When she woke, he didn't waste time. "You want to tell me why the Dravik have our location?" Solara blinked, confused. "What?" "Don't play games," Aaron said, his voice hard. "Your little light show back there, it wasn't just shutting them down. You sent them something. A signal." Her eyes widened. "I didn't." She stopped, her lips trembling. I can't always control it. They built me to link with their systems, sometimes. Sometimes I connect without meaning to." Aaron stepped closer. "Then you've just painted a target on both of us." Solara shook her head, desperate. "I didn't want this. If they find me, they'll take me back. They'll finish what they started." Her voice broke, but Aaron didn't look away. He'd been a soldier too long to ignore the possibility that she might be lying. Before he could reply, the ship's long-range scanner beeped. Multiple signatures, big ones, entering their vector. Solara's face went pale. "They're here." Aaron rushed to the controls. "Not yet, they're not." He punched in a course to a nearby moon. Small, uninhabited, thick with canyons and caves. A perfect hiding place. The freighter roared to life, but the Dravik ships were closing fast. They had larger cruisers now, not just fighters. Aaron knew if they got caught in open space, they were finished. A sudden voice crackled over the comm. Deep, cold, and mechanical. "Captain Vale, surrender the asset, and you live." Aaron muted the channel, glancing at Solara. "There. Talking about you." Her hands curled into fists. "I am not an asset," the cruisers fired. The freighter shook under the first barrage. Hull integrity dropped to 78%. Aaron pushed the engines to their limit, skimming over the moon's surface. The Dravik followed, weapons lighting up the ground behind them. Finally, he spotted a canyon wide enough for the freighter. He dove in, the ship scraping rock as it plunged into shadow. For a moment, there was silence. The Dravik ship circled above, searching. Aaron cut the engines and held his breath. Then, nothing. They moved on. Aaron slumped back, relief flooding him. But, before he could speak, a faint red light glowed on the console. Another transmission, automatic, had just gone out. Aaron turned slowly toward Solara. She was staring at him, fear in her eyes. "It's not me this time," she whispered. A cold chill ran through him. If it wasn't her, then someone, or something else on this ship was sending those signals. From deep in the freighter's cargo hold came a metallic clank. Then another. Aaron grabbed his rifle. "Stay here." He moved toward the hold, the sound growing louder, a slow, steady pounding, like something trying to get out. When he reached the door, the pounding stopped. The silence was worse. Aaron took a breath and hit the control. The door slid open. And inside the dark, something moved. Something with glowing red eyes. The red eyes glowed in the darkness of the cargo hold, unblinking, fixed on Aaron. He stepped inside slowly, rifle raised. The air smelled faintly of burnt circuitry. Something metallic shifted in the shadows. Then it stepped forward. It was Dravik tech, but smaller than a soldier. A machine, maybe half Aaron's height, shaped like an insect with 6-jointed legs and a curved, armored shell. Its surface was scratched and dented, but its movements were smooth, deliberate. Solara appeared in the doorway behind him. Her voice was sharp with fear. "That's a hunter drone." Aaron didn't lower his weapon. "Why is it on my ship?" The drone tilted its head, as if studying him. Then its voice came, cold and synthetic. "Captain Vale, directive, return Solara to Dravik custody. Refusal will result in elimination." Solara's breath caught. "They sent it before we even left the planet. It must have been hidden in the cargo." Aaron cursed under his breath. He'd taken on supplies from the outpost last shipment days ago. No one checked every crate. This thing had been with them all along, the drones. Red eyes flickered. "You have 60 seconds to comply." Aaron glanced at Solara. She looked different. Not just scared, determined. "Aaron, if it's me they want, maybe I should go. You can still get away." "No," Aaron snapped. "That's not happening." "Aaron, you don't understand. I understand enough. You're not. They're property, and I don't trade people for my own safety." The drone's legs clicked as it moved forward. Aaron fired. Plasma bolts hammered into its armor, leaving smoking dents, but not stopping it. The thing leapt, too fast for its size. Aaron rolled aside as its front claws slashed through the deck plating. Solara's glow flared suddenly, her lines brightening until the cargo hold was bathed in silver light. She pressed her palms forward, and a wave of energy blasted into the drone. It screeched, a sound halfway between metal tearing and something alive screaming, and stumbled back. But Solara collapsed to her knees, gasping for air. "I can't do that again." Not without. The drone surged toward her. Aaron didn't think. He charged, slamming his rifle like a club into its head. The impact jarred his arms, but one of the drone's red eyes cracked. The machine's voice glitched. "Warning. Systems compromised." Aaron grabbed a fallen crate, slammed it down on the drone again and again until its legs twitched weakly. Finally, the light in its eyes went out. Aaron stood over it, chest heaving. His hands shook, not from fear, but from what he knew this meant. The Dravik would know the drone was destroyed. They'd send more. He turned to Solara. "We can't keep running blind. Whatever this war is, you're in the middle of it. I need to know why." She hesitated, then met his eyes. "Because I'm not just something they built. I'm something they stole." Aaron frowned. "Stole?" Solara's voice was barely above a whisper. "From humans." Before Aaron could process that, the ship's console beeped sharply, a new signal. But this one wasn't Dravik. It was human, and it was close. Solara's expression darkened. "Not all humans are on your side, Captain." The human signal grew stronger with each passing second. Aaron's hands tightened on the freighter's controls. If it was real, it could mean rescue. Or betrayal. Solara sat in the co-pilot's chair, silent. Her silver skin looked almost gray under the dim cabin lights. Aaron opened the comm line. "This is Captain Aaron Vale, Freighter Haven's Edge. Identify yourself." A man's voice answered, warm, confident. Too calm for someone in a war zone. "Captain Vale, this is Commander Rourke of the Terran Dominion. We've been tracking you since Outpost 17. Stand down, and we'll bring you aboard." Aaron's eyes narrowed. "You were tracking me?" Rourke chuckled softly. "We were tracking her." Solara stiffened. "No." She whispered. Aaron muted the channel and turned to her. You know him? Her jaw clenched. The Dravik aren't the only ones who experimented on me. Some of your people. Help them. Aaron felt a cold weight in his stomach. Before he could answer, Rourke's voice returned, harder now. Vale, the Baron is moving. He knows you have the asset. If you hand her over to us, we can keep her from him. The name hit Aaron like a punch. The Baron, the Dravik warlord who had butchered thousands in the last war. The same one whispered about in soldiers' nightmares. Solara's voice shook. If he finds me, he'll finish it. He'll use me to burn entire worlds. The freighter's proximity alarm screamed. Out of the darkness, ships emerged, massive. Black-armored cruisers with the Baron's crimson crest painted across their hulls. Aaron's breath caught. He's here. The cum burst to life again. But this time it wasn't Rourke. A deep, resonant voice filled the cabin, slow, deliberate, cruel. Human, you have something that belongs to me. Solara trembled, her hands gripping the console. Don't answer him. Aaron stayed silent. The Baron continued. Give her to me, and I will spare your life. Refuse, and I will make your death a song sung for centuries. The Dravik cruisers spread into a blockade, cutting off any escape vector. Above them, 2 Terran warships dropped from FTL, locking weapons, but not on the Dravik. On Aaron's freighter, Aaron's mind raced. The humans wanted Solara, the Baron wanted Solara. And both were willing to kill him to get her. Solara's eyes met his. You can't fight them both. Pick a side. Aaron's knuckles whitened on the controls. No, I'm picking our side. He slammed the throttle forward, diving the freighter toward the Baron's lead ship, not to surrender, but to get close enough for a desperate plan forming in his head. Plasma fire from both sides lit up the black, turning the stars into a battlefield of red and blue dot as they weaved through the chaos. Solara leaned close, her voice low. If you're going to do what I think you are, I'll need to push my power harder than ever before. Aaron glanced at her. Can you survive that? She didn't answer. The Baron's massive ship loomed ahead, a wall of black steel and death. Aaron set the collision course. Solara placed her hands on the console, her glow returning, brighter than ever, spilling silver light across the cockpit. The last thing Aaron heard before alarms blared was the Baron's voice, deepened. Amused, interesting. Let's see if the human can surprise me. The Baron's flagship filled the viewport, a black mountain in the void, bristling with weapons. The freighter's alarms screamed, but Aaron didn't slow down. Solara stood beside him, her silver glow pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. Each flare of light made the air feel heavier, charged with a strange electric tension. Aaron, she said softly, if I do this, I can't come back the same. It will burn through me. Aaron's eyes stayed on the looming ship. Then we make it count. They dove into the shadow of the Baron's hull, skimming so close the metal ridges scraped the freighter's plating. Dravik turrets swiveled too. Track them, but their targeting systems lagged at such close range. Solara closed her eyes. The glowing lines on her face spread across her neck, down her arms, until her whole body was a living conduit of light. Her voice, when it came, was steady. Get me to the core section. I can reach it from here. Aaron pulled up the ship's old schematics. The Baron's flagships were infamous, but their reactor layouts hadn't changed in decades. He brought the freighter under the rear thruster bank and locked the ship in place with the mag clamps. Baron's voice echoed over the come again, calm and amused. You have spirit, human. I admire that. But your little machine girl will not break me. Solara's eyes snapped open, blazing white now. I'm not a machine. She pressed her palms to the console. The freighter's lights died as every scrap of power bled into her. Aaron felt the hair on his arms rise, the hum of the ship's systems shifting into a strange, alien frequency. Then, the Baron's ship shuddered. Through the viewport, Aaron saw the massive cruiser's lights flicker. Weapon batteries went dark. A deep vibration rolled through the hull, like something groaning under its own weight. Solara's glow grew almost blinding. Her voice was strained now. I'm inside. His systems. I can tear them apart. Aaron kept one eye on the radar. The Terran ships were closing in too, waiting to take the Baron and Solara. He leaned toward her. Solara, listen. Shut down the Dravik ship, then wipe yourself from their network. If the humans get you, they'll finish what the Baron started. Her breathing was ragged. If I cut myself out, I'll lose most of what I am, the power, the connection. It'll be gone. Aaron met her gaze. You'll still be you, and alive. That's enough. A silent second passed, then Solara screamed, and the Baron's ship erupted in chaos. Across the black, the massive vessel's main reactor overloaded, blooming into a blinding light. Aaron yanked the freighter free, engines roaring as they punched away from the blast radius dot in the cockpit. Solara collapsed. The glow was gone. The lines on her face were faint now, like old scars. She looked human, fragile. Aaron caught her before she hit the floor. Solara, stay with me. Her eyes opened weakly. Did we win? Aaron allowed himself a small, tired smile. We're still breathing. That's a start. Behind them, the Baron's flagship was breaking apart, pieces falling into the planet's gravity well. But the Terran ships were still out there, scanning for survivors, and Aaron knew they'd come for them next. He looked at Solara, then at the endless black ahead. Time to disappear. The freighter's engines flared, carrying them into deep space. The war was far from over. But for now, Solara was free, and as long as Aaron Vale drew breath, she would stay that way.